After breakfast today, the resort had arranged a full-day private tour of the Mekong River by boat. Around 10 o'clock, the boat, which could easily have accommodated 15 to 20 people, pulled up on the riverbank right below the resort. I climbed aboard and we set out on our cruise with my guide Zar.
Hi, my name is Zar. Welcome to Mekong Resort Tour.
Myself and the boat captain. We glided above the reddish, muddy, majestic waters of the Mekong River. Past downtown Luang Prabang, where the golden spires of That Chomsky, the stupa on top of Mount Prosi, were visible peeking out above the trees. From the vantage point of the boat, one can see how large and impressive the Mekong River is, especially in flood season. The first out-of-town landmark we encountered on our leisurely trip upriver, at an average speed of 13 kilometers an hour, was the China to Laos railway bridge across the Mekong. After more leisurely cruising up the Mekong River, we passed this car ferry unloading after crossing the river. Later, we encountered these ridges and striations in the riverbank, which mark the highest and then decreasing water levels on the river after various stages of the monsoon rains upstream. These half-submerged trees that are usually on the riverbank at low water look rather the worse for wear after collecting plastic from the floodwaters. We passed a floating fish farm. A guide pointed out the teak trees with their yellow flowers growing on the banks of the river. The first stop on the cruise was the whiskey and weaving village, actually called Chang Hai. We disembarked, stepping gingerly on the perforated steel jetty, then climbed the concrete steps up to the village. Where we were greeted by one of the workers in the whiskey distillery. The whiskey is made from fermented rice. The fermented mash is heated in this primitive-looking but effective charcoal-heated still. And collected in earthenware jars before being bottled. I was given a sample to try, and it had quite the kick. The sales display included bottles with various local snakes, scorpions, and other critters submerged in the whiskey. We moved on to the weaving part of the village, where artisans were creating beautiful hand-woven fabrics on some rather low-tech looms. I saw some older ladies who were preparing the yarn for the looms. friendly and smiling weavers were all happy to show off the fruits of their labors. Which included some intricate designs featuring local motifs. Available at the many stalls along the streets. There was a charming small temple, the Chang Hai temple, at the top of the hill overlooking the village. The temple had a large collection of statues. Including this unusual dog statue. The guide and I wandered back down to the river and reboarded the boat to travel further up the Mekong. Passing these local fishermen on the way upriver. Our next stop was the Manifa Elephant Camp. There were several tour boats moored at the docks, and more arrived soon after us. The Manifa Elephant Camp was set in pleasant greenery on a bluff overlooking the Mekong. This was our spot for the included lunch. I have been on tours with lunch included before, and they are usually less than satisfying. The Manifa Elephant Camp, on the other hand, put on a great buffet spread with lots of variety. Each dish was labeled in English. I was eager to try the buffalo meat kabobs. Lunch came with a great view. The buffalo kabobs were so tasty, I went back for seconds. After lunch, an elephant wandered into the gardens, accompanied by its Mahout, who gave us a 20-minute presentation about elephants and their care. Then invited us to get up close and personal with the elephant. Back on the boat, voyaging further upstream, to the Pak Ou Caves, which are near the confluence of the Nam O and Mekong rivers. These caves have small temples within. The guide, Czar, lit incense and prayed. While I admired the many Buddha statues. I did not go to the upper cave-in temple as the stairs were narrow and looked slippery. When we left the caves, the captain pulled the boat out into the middle of the river so that I could photograph the whole limestone formation the caves are located in. Then he turned the boat so it pointed downstream, and we headed back towards Luang Prabang. Passing another car ferry, and about an hour of cruising later, passing back under the China to Laos railway bridge. Then, coming into Luang Prabang, we saw one of its riverside temples and some of the houses along the river. Finally arriving back at the On the Mekong resort. Later, I sampled the local Luang Prabang beer and had a delicious buffalo stew and salad for supper. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment.